Good afternoon. I'm Piret Einpaul, a lecturer of psychology and a manager of our mentoring program in EUAS. And as you can see, we focused on support system of non-academic staff involved in informing and consulting entrepreneurship students. And let me start by a short introduction. In EUAS, we have 1,800 students, 7 curricula, 2 study languages, and 4 study centers. And our educational goals and admission policy are focused on the adult employed learners and students. And to meet their expectations, we have worked out the session study system. And all in all, we can say that our study organization process is quite complicated. On the other hand, it's important to note that our entrepreneurship students have specific and rather different expectations and needs connected to study organization. And so far, we have studied our students' needs and expectations, and I can say that the main challenges are involved with balancing their work and family life and studies, and also some different ways of financing their studies. And to meet our student expectation, it's important to develop and deploy the most effective and feasible solutions. And in EUAS, our study process is organized that way that, of course, important role is carried by faculty, our documentation, and our study information system. But without any doubt, the most important is our study consultants' role. Our study consultants are usually the first point of contact for many students, and they are responsible for informing, advising, finding different solutions, and I think their work is quite challenging and sometimes very intense, and the quality of our study consultant decisions, their communication and consulting skills are therefore of critical importance. And so we know that our study consultants perform a vital role in supporting our students. We need to value them, and we'd like to enable them to achieve maximum productivity. But we actually don't exactly know which is the distribution of tasks of our study consultants, which are the most frequent tasks, and which are their skills and preparation for execution of those tasks, and which are their training needs, and also what kind of expectations they have to the support system provided by the employer. And that's why our aim was to find out and specify which knowledge, skills, and resources are considered important by our study consultants in order to provide support for the students and to make our students' study experience as likable and as efficient as possible. And what we did, we conducted a survey with all our 11 study consultants, created a measuring system on the basis of previous research, job descriptions, study regulations, and a pilot interview. And our measuring system included a semi-structured interview with 18 questions, and also a question form filled in by interviewees with 42 most common topics our students rise in study centers. And each topic included questions about its frequency, respondent skill level, and skill acquiring methods. And now I think Tauno, good colleague Tauno Õunapuu, is now to present the results of our study.
Thank you very much. Okay, hello. I'm trying to continue with results, and our analysis of this question form focuses on the connections of the frequency of study consultant tasks, self-assessment of their skill level, and how these skills have been acquired. And generally, in case of more frequent tasks, the study consultants considered their skill level to be better than in case of less frequent tasks. Statistically, there was very strong positive relationships between the frequency of these tasks and between self-assessment of their skill level. Such a result was, of course, expectable, mainly because in case of more frequent work tasks, it is possible to learn from experience. But it was somewhat surprising that there were no noticeable differences between respondents, and it means that hypothesis that employees with shorter work experience would show a weaker connection was not confirmed. And of course we see that there is a problem that in case of lower frequency tasks, the skill level is low, but such tasks nevertheless occur, and then study consultants can't answer properly. Now some words about how these skills were acquired. Evaluating different ways of acquiring skills with different scales and comparing the strengths of the connections with self-assessment of the corresponding skill level. The following ranking describing study effectiveness is formed. The first place was learning from colleagues during the process work, and we got quite strong relationships with these form of study, let's say. Second place was this learning from documentation, and two other forms how to learn got very low relationship, near to zero, and it was learning independently from experience and learning in trainings or in in-house trainings. The low position of trainings in the ranking can be explained by the fact that there has been no particular plan for trainings in our institution, and that so far trainings have been quite random. This is verified by the fact that in case of fields of more systematic training activities, for example, recognition of prior learning or study process skills trainings, the self-assessment of subject skill level has been higher. There was conformity with job descriptions, but due to disunity of work and many different tasks, it's difficult to complete detailed job descriptions. And our interviewees preferred to have more general job descriptions in study process descriptions and regulations instead of job description. It was about this question forms analysis. Content analysis was undertaken to categorize the comments from the qualitative data. We got a lot of information, but this study includes results only about interviewers' assessment of their necessary work competencies, training needs, and expectations for study consultant support system. We checked out that personal characteristics and attitudes are extremely important for study consultants themselves. And by their opinion, these skills can be obtained after. It's not so important. Of course, these knowledge and these points can be used in our recruiting process because still we mostly focused on skills, not on these personal characteristics and attitudes. Now some word about training needs as well. Study consultants were interested on wide range of trainings, mostly on general skill field, and we are going to find out which could be exact outcomes and reasonable amount of these courses. And we are going to decide which courses or topics could be provided via in-house trainings and which we can do with help our own teaching staff and mentors. So, and the last one is proposals for support system. It's interviewees proposals, and almost all of them said that the most important things could be regular meetings that can be attended by all study center employees. It means that we must find some free time for all of them. And in these meetings, they thought that one very important is sharing better practices in meetings, and the other is short in-house trainings. Then, of course, necessary professional trainings, from this previous slide, for example. Appointing supervisors or mentoring systems. And by the way, it means that we need to find and prepare mentors from study centers workers as well, probably. Some people would like to get more instructional materials. Now we are going to work out and start with this support system, I think already at the current academic year. Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your ideas with us. Any questions?
Thank you, Tauno. And I have one question. What do you think, why learning from experience is not valued?
Learning from experience, I think it's valued quite well, but our study consultants' work is so difficult and fragmented that, let's say, this self-learning is does not have good quality. But when they have some supervisor or mentor or just colleague to help them, then the results are much better. And even from interviews came out that they said, study consultants, that there are some people who are, let's say, more open-minded or even more have better skills to ask or even to study, and they can learn by themselves. But there are people who are not so good in this way, and they need a mentor.
But maybe they don't think that they learn this from their experience. Maybe they don't think
I think it's not so, because we didn't ask so. We asked just how they acquired their skills, and the other question, independent question, was how high is their skill level, and we did this correlation analysis, and then find out that in cases when they said that they learned from experience, their knowledge were not so good. Because it's a reason why I think that it's a right result.
Any more questions? Actually, has there ever been a competition for a job of a study consultant, or do you just take anybody?
Of course there was, yeah. Mm-hmm. It was actually a very interesting question, but because it's one part which we excluded from this study. There was, if I remember correctly, 2 or 3 persons who came just by competition. Mm-hmm. And then the other were invited, or our students who were practical.
Yes, in the work placement.
Yeah, and so on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and the last time it was quite high competition. There was something maybe even 50 50 participants.